Greetings and welcome back to room 303 in our Talks with Walt, as we are calling our readings through the deathbed edition of Walt Whitman's Leaves of Grass. We turn now to the little poem, Small, the Theme of My Chant, poem number 35 of the 58 of Sands at 70. And I love this about Whitman's Leaves of Grass. At the very end of Leaves of Grass, we're coming obviously to the final poems of Leaves of Grass, we go all the way back to the very first poem of Leaves of Grass, Oneself I Sing. And we're going to finish actually by reading that poem to come back and in the end kind of finish the circle, if you will. Now our assumptions are that you have been with us from the very beginning at learnstrong.net down that left-hand side, and in fact that very first poem, Oneself I Sing. We did give a set of introductory comments to Sands at 70 that I'm hopeful that you're familiar with, and then Going Somewhere as a text we just finished. Now our Nortons will tell us about this poem that it, with minor variants, was the poem that first appeared on the flyleaf before the poems of Leaves of Grass 1867, a shorter version later opening the inscriptions group, obviously, of Leaves of Grass 1871. And you obviously are going to go back to our comments on that poem to feel confident that you know that poem well. But let's just enjoy this poem, Small, the Theme of My Chants. By the way, Whitman himself would put right above this one from the 1876 edition of Leaves of Grass. Small will take us back to Eidolons, where it was used for the very first time. And then my chant, you'll remember that phrase from Scented Herbage of My Breast. Small the theme of my chant, yet the greatest, namely oneself, a simple, separate person, that for the use of the new world I sing. Man's physiology complete from top to toe, I sing. Not physiognomy only, nor brain alone is worthy for the muse. I say, the form complete is worthier far. The female equally with the male I sing, nor cease at the theme of oneself. I speak the word of the modern, the word en masse. My days I sing, and the lands with intricacies I knew of hapless war. O friend, whoever you are, at last arriving hither to commence, I feel through every leaf the pressure of your hand which I return, and thus upon our journey, footing the road, and more than once and linked together, let us go. Now, I find this a fascinating little poem, given obviously our study of the very first poem of Leaves of Grass. Of course, notice he'll begin by pointing out that the chant is small, and yet it's great. So already engaging in paradox. Of course, he'll say about oneself, a simple, separate person. The beauty of Whitman is that he will try to marry the celebration of the individual with obviously the celebration of the collective or the group. And then he'll talk about it as the use of the new world I sing. Of course, this will take us to foreign lands early on again in Leaves of Grass. He'll talk about what it is that he is focused on. Obviously physiology as well as physiognomy, the face. I'm not going to talk about the brain either alone. All of it is worthy of the muse. That is to say, from the very beginning in his first word come, he was invoking the muse, and here we are back. I say the form complete is worthier far. All of human. In other words, as he says in Song of Myself 47, I have said that the soul is not more than the body, and that the body is not more than the soul, and nothing not God is greater to one than oneself is. Song of Myself 48, right? I'm sorry, I said 47, 48. He says it, the form complete is worthier far, the female equally with the male. And this makes Whitman, again, radical for his time, that in fact he would argue that the female and the male are co-equals in every way. And then he'll say, nor cease, which takes us back to Song of Myself 1, hoping not to cease till death, nor cease at the theme of oneself. I speak the word of the modern, and again, we've commented how many times in Leaves of Grass that word's significant. The word en masse. And of course, we've seen that word several times used in Leaves of Grass. My days, notice capitalized, I sing, and the lands capitalized. With intricacy, that is to say, back to the poem, A Glimpse, where this word was used, that is to say, a very small opening space. I knew of hapless war. Hapless takes us back to Salutamon number 6. And of course, we're thinking about the Drum Taps poems in Civil War. And then The poem finishes with parenthetics. It's almost like an aside. And we've seen this in Crossing Brooklyn Ferry. We've seen this several times, where Whitman literally speaks to you as you are literally holding the collection called Leaves of Grass. And he says, whoever you are, at last arriving hither to commence, I feel through every leaf, obviously leaves of grass, the pressure of your hand, which I return. You'll remember that he asked, what's it like to be holding me right now? And it's kind of freaky the way he says that. And thus, upon our journey, obviously, we are back to Song of the Open Road, footing the road, and more than once and linked together. I told you about clasping, holding, linking together. And then the last line, let us go, which you'll remember from Proud Music of the Storm 6 will be a refrain that gets used there as well. Of course, at 2A, then the major message here is that the journey of life is better if you have a pal or a friend to go with you. The language of intimacy I love at 2B. It's as if he's speaking directly to you, the reader. At 3A, well, obviously you can think about Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock, that 1915 offering of T.S. Eliot, when he gave those opening lines, let us go then, you and I, when the evening is spread out against the sky like a patient ether rised upon our table. Let us go through certain half-deserted streets, the muttering retreats of restless nights and one-night cheap hotels, and sawdust restaurants with oyster shells, streets that follow like a tedious argument of insidious intent to lead you to an overwhelming question. Notice, I think Eliot learned something from this poem. What is that question? Oh, do not ask what it is. Let us go and make our visit. In the room the women come and go, talking of Michelangelo. We commented in full length on that amazing set of lines at learnstrong.net. But, as we promised, I just want to go back. What is it Eliot says in East Coker, my end is my beginning, and my beginning is my end? Here we go with the very opening lines of Inscriptions and Leaves of Grass, oneself I sing. Oneself I sing, a simple separate person. Notice how much it's almost like he's plagiarizing himself, huh? Yet utter the word democratic, the word en masse. Of physiology from top to toe I sing. Of physiognomy alone, our brain alone is worthy for the muse I say. The form complete is worthy of far, the female equally with the male I sing. Of life immense, impassioned pulse and power, cheerful for freest action formed under the laws divine, the modern man I sing. Finally, at 3B, a simple question about the journey that you're on. We're coming to the end, obviously, of Leaves of Grass. Is Walt Whitman maybe becoming your traveling pal? I certainly hope so, and you'll take him with you for the rest of your life. Thank you.